Welcome back to my channel once again. My name is William and I'm glad that you're here. Back with another segment, and this time it's about business in Uganda. I was asked to state or to share the top 3 businesses that a foreigner should consider if they want to move to Uganda. Now I have 3 of them, but I will add a fourth at the very end. This channel is about socio-economic issues in Uganda and anything that is interesting, anything that is worth talking about. If you haven't subscribed and this is the type of content that you want, please consider doing so at the very end of this video. Now, there are 3 major investment opportunities that I think foreigners should consider if they want to move to Uganda and engage in. Number 1 is in IT. Probably I should state that Uganda's population is the youngest, standing at 70% of its population being under the age of 25 years. Now that is a huge opportunity of investment, given that when you're dealing with youth, when you're handling them at the very inception, at the very beginning of their lives, they are able to relate with your products and services even for a longer time. In other words, you have the opportunity to work with them much longer, so it's upon you to be innovative and live with them. You'll probably have them for the rest of their lives. Now IT, getting back to IT, you probably go into internet. Data is one of those things that are sought for the most in Uganda. So we obviously have telecom companies here and that provide fast internet. However, the cost is really high for bundles. It's really high. So I would put it at say $2. That's 5,000 shillings for 1 GB. I'll put the calculation somewhere. So the cost of a GB is really high, but this all goes down to the cost of say if it's taxes that are being imposed on the internet service providers that we have in the country. So we still need companies that can invest in internet. We need the internet to go all around. The youth need the internet for school, for e-learning, for research, for content creation, everything that is really important. The world right now needs internet. About IT again, I would think that a foreigner or any person that would want to invest in Uganda should look at transport. Transport is one of those very interesting things that people should consider venturing into. However, already we have good examples like Safe Border that is already here in Uganda. Transport is very key. Uganda is densely populated, if I've put it that way, especially in Kampala, in the areas of Kampala and the districts that surround the central business district, which is Kampala, where the main economic activities are taking place. So transportation is one of those things that would be very good for somebody to venture in. However, that would be in the tech side of things, whereby you create a solution that is going to help ease things like congestion in the city. Already we have apps that for hailing companies, say like Uber. There's Uber Border. A border is it's a motorcycle that is used for commute, for ferrying passengers. We have Uber. We have obviously there's Uber as I think it's called Uber X for the cars. Then we have there are also bikes. There's also Safe Border that everybody knows about. So if you're into the IT side of things, if you're passionate about IT, I suggest that you seriously look into some of these solutions. Another area that I think is really important is data collection. We know that business decisions depend on data. If you're able to have an excellent research team that can reach all the corners of Uganda to collect all the necessary data that would be significant in making important decisions for any person's business. For instance, if they are fast-moving consumer goods inclined sort of businesses, they would need this sort of data because it's ever-changing. Not just that, but housing and everything. So data is very important, and it's one of those things that we will always need. So if you're interested in creating a solution that will enable data collection in Uganda, please give it some serious thought. Now, if you're coming to Uganda and you're worried that probably you won't find good IT engineers, Well, I would want to inform you that we actually have one of the best IT talent in Uganda. We export talent to countries like Sudan, Rwanda, Kenya, South Africa. So we have teams that there are companies that seek for our type of content. So obviously it means that we are overflowed with individuals that are really talented in IT, so they can create the apps that you need. Of course, we know if you feel uncomfortable or if you're not sure of creating a team, you can always outsource some of those things that you want to create to platforms like Viva. You'll always find somebody that will create an app that you need. However, I would want to give you the assurance that we have the technical capacity in Uganda to create the products that you need. If you know Andela, there was Andela in Uganda here. However, due to the COVID and everything, their business model is a bit different right now, but you can still engage. They're working from home, if I would put it that way. And we have a branch in Uganda, and if so, you need to know it's a group of tech support individuals or full stack engineers that companies can hire to create the products that they need. So it's important to think about that. Do not worry that probably you'll have issues. The beauty about creating a solution that is local is that you're dealing with individuals that have tested some of these things. Some of them have already created the prototypes that are needed to that they can share with you so that you start. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. So we have spaces where developers usually meet to pitch some of the things that they've created, and usually sometimes they simply lack the money to launch out their products, or they lack the money to market their products. So it is important to come and work, come and collaborate, come and actively co-invest with already existing business partners here in the IT sector in Uganda. So we have places like Hive Collab. If you have been to Uganda before, that's one of the places where some of our IT skilled individuals usually do their work. There's another one called Outbox. I'll link their details in the description below. A couple of other places. So there's another one called Innovation Village in Ntinda. It's an excellent co-working space. If you need space and you don't want to really, you just want to be in the environment where already like-minded individuals are, those should be the places that you should consider. So that's about IT. Then next is tourism. Tourism is one of those fast-growing opportunities in Uganda. You'll not go wrong with tourism. Uganda is blessed to have very beautiful scenery. The biggest freshwater lake in Africa is Lake Victoria. It's just right here in Uganda. We have the Rwenzori. We have the mountain gorillas. Well, the list is endless. The food is great in Uganda. So whoever comes to Uganda, they hardly want to leave. I'm not just blowing the trumpet for the country, but it's true. You could probably ask a couple of people that have been to Uganda before. They'll tell you about the experience, about the people, about the willingness to help you move places. Now, getting back to the investment itself, you do not have to own everything, say the cars. Remember, it's a partnership of sorts. If you want to thrive, it's better that you come and work with the Ugandans here. If you don't have the cars or the trucks for the tourists, you can as well hire them and slap your company sticker on there. Nobody will ever know that you actually own them. Well, it's actually cheaper to outsource some of these things because they also have their own costs, their own overhead costs that you don't want to get into. So tourism is one of those things that you'd consider. It's amazing. I think it's one of those investments that you do and you enjoy at the same time. So tourism, that is number 2. 3 is real estate. However, we know real estate is a high entry level kind of investment whereby you would be required to have at least $200,000 to invest in real estate. That would be about 1 billion Ugandan shillings, to be on the safe side of things. So however, we know that real estate has its own ups and downs. For instance, you could build something and you don't have any tenants to occupy your investment. So it would mean it's hanging there and you're losing money. So just be mindful. If you're into real estate, just be mindful. What sort of real estate are you interested in? Just to backtrack about tourism, you could probably do cottages. People love cottages. Those that want to go for honeymoon and just to have a good time outside the busy noise and hustle and bustle of Kampala and all these other busy places. So about the tourism issue, you can build cottages. Sorry, I'm going back and forth. Now, getting back to real estate. With real estate, you could start with shells. Shells are incomplete houses. A house is built up to a certain level, up to the roofing stage, and then you should be able to complete this house, fully furnish it, and then put it on the market. It will be bought. You see, people do not want to get into the hustle and the worries of having to build a house from the onset, from the ground up. So there are those individuals that would simply want to buy a house which is fully finished and furnished. Well, there are those that might not want it furnished. They prefer their own kind of style and interior. So that's a conversation that you can hold. So think about real estate in that sense, and just be mindful that if you're doing it on the very large scale, it would be costly, and then you might not have the tenants that you need. And then there are these other costs that come through, say plumbing. If you have a couple of houses, there are these other things that come through. Of course, if you're a real estate individual, you'd know how some of those costs are inevitable. Say if there are plumbing works that need to go on, if water has been cut off, security needs to be provided. Your tenants might want you to provide CCTV cameras. So there are those other costs that you should be able to deal with as time goes. So just know that real estate is a huge investment. However, it's on the high end of things. Now the bonus is children daycare. A child daycare is one of those things that is really selling. Because we have a youthful community, or if I could put it, workforce. Many of them are still working, and they need to leave their kids in a safe place. So if you are good with children, if you've worked with children, and you can avail the best of service for children, for young mothers who usually work 6 days a week, then if you provide services for children, then you won't go wrong. You will not go wrong, because mothers want to feel safe if their kids, if their babies are being taken care of. They usually pick up their children after 3 when they're heading back home. So it's one of those investments that you should look into. Feel free to consider working with locals. You could still you could prefer to work alone. However, when you work with locals, they'll tell you how things run. You'll make fewer mistakes, and well, you'll have a good time. It won't feel like you're doing just your own thing, but you are working with the community, and the community is there for you, and the community will advise you, and the community can as well show you or open up your mind to other things that you'll have probably not have noticed. They know the place much better than you. So if you really want to come to Uganda to do business, those are the things. In my next video, I'm going to discuss what you need to do to register a business in Uganda. Thank you for watching. If you haven't considered, and this is the kind of stuff that you'd want to listen to, the things you want to learn about Uganda, please consider subscribing. Hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on my next upload. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye-bye. Peace.